Welcome to the channel. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Now I want you guys to join me today for a review on the Escapement Time. Back in March I unboxed two Escapement Time watches, and to be honest with you guys, with all that's going on with all the Paganis, I actually kind of forgot about this watch. So it's about time I dove in and gave you guys my thoughts on this beautiful Escapement Time watch. Let's get the box open. Let's not waste anyone's time. And the watch I have here in question is the very well-known and extremely popular King Seiko Homage, offered by Escapement Time. Now, there is something which makes this watch very, very special, which I will touch upon. But as you guys can see, that it is a dress watch. Now, while everybody knows that does watch this channel, I am a huge fan of dive watches. Case in point, I am wearing my Seiko Manta Ray King Turtle, but I do also appreciate a nice dress watch. However, I am very particular about dress watches. To my right, I've got my Seiko Presage Cocktail Time, and to my left, I've got a Seiko Premier Automatic with open heart movement. And now I'm looking at this Escapement Time. In my initial impressions, I was more than impressed with this watch, primarily because it is homaging a relatively unknown watch, the King Seiko. Now, not a lot of homage brands from AliExpress are actually doing these kind of watches, which makes Escapement Time very exciting, and it does make them a brand which actually stands out amongst the masses of homage watches on AliExpress, to the point where I believe Escapement Time is in fact, their own niche. They are homaging things which nobody's homaging, which is a very refreshing thing to look at. So what makes this watch very special? And that is that sweep that you see on the second hand. Yes, it is a quartz watch. Now, quartz is of course the most accurate time-telling movement that you can get. However, when many of us move over to automatics, that single tick of quartz is a bit of a put off. So this movement in this watch builds that bridge. It gives you a semi-smooth sweep. It is still 4 ticks a second. It's not smooth like the 6 ticks on the automatics, but it gives you the accuracy of the quartz. Now, the piece I have in my hand, it was out of stock. Escapement Time on AliExpress have sold, I think, over 400 pieces, and you got 5-star reviews. Everybody loves this watch. Now, I believe this is the version 2. They did a version 1 which came in a bracelet. I did see that back when it did come out, but it was just too shiny for me. And I decided not to go for it then. But then the second version did really stand out. Now, there's two variants to this. There's one with a silver second hand, and there's one with a heated blue second hand. Now, both I do look really nice. I opted to go for the silver one, primarily due to the fact that the second one was out of stock at that time. So let's go into some dimensions, specs, and then we can take a closer look at the watch, and I can give you my full thoughts on this really gorgeous piece. So specs wise, you've got a sapphire crystal on the watch, fully polished 316L stainless steel case construction. It comes with this croc style leather strap. Water resistance, I'm not too sure. It's not written anywhere on the watch, and I can't remember the top of my head. I'd estimate 10 meters. And the movement used in this watch is a Seiko VH31 hybrid mecha quartz movement. Let me mention a few things about the movement. So the movement is a 4 ticks a second sweep. It's actually running 2 joules because the hybrid quartz movements, they in fact have some gearing, some aspects of mechanical gears present, but it is battery powered. You've got an accuracy of plus or minus 15 seconds a month, although I can guarantee it is a lot more accurate than that. However, having said that, quartz is kind of sensitive to heat and cold, etc. And the battery life on this watch should last around 2 years. That is because it is a high torque movement, just enabling the movement to hit that 4 ticks a second. Now, there are other quartz movements out there which do actually give you a very high beat rate. They've got a high hertz rate. The main one being Bulova. They've got something ridiculous with like 16 ticks a second. I think it's like Sea King Diver or something like that, but it's worth checking out. But there are these movements around. Now, Seiko, funnily enough, have not put this movement in any of their own watches, which I find extremely difficult to believe. So I couldn't find anything. So if someone out there that does know a Seiko watch which does use this VH31 movement, then please let me know in the comment section below, because I can't believe the fact that they made the movement but they don't use it in any of their watches. There are, however, multiple micro brands that have gone to use this movement, you know, for the same reason I mentioned. It's that little bridge between auto watches. It's a mechanical quartz, giving you that quartz accuracy, but with just that taste of auto, so you don't feel you're stepping too far away from it. So looking at dimensions, you've got a 40mm diameter case, and you've got a 46mm lug to lug, and now my favorite part of this watch is the thickness is just 10mm. What an incredibly beautiful watch. The weight of the watch is a mere 55 grams. The lug width is 20mm, as you'd expect, and at the price is even more incredible. It's around $80, which roughly equates to around 56 Great British pounds. So incredible value for money for those guys sick of divers or dress watches are your style, and even to the older demographic, this watch should appeal very, very much. Now, I believe Escapement Time have just done this perfectly. The King Seikos, when you look at the vintage watches, you know, there is something amazing about them. And the main thing for me is the case shape. But not only that, is just the detailing that is present. So let's focus in on that point. Let's have a look at the dial. Now, they've got this off-white cream color dial, but the color is so solid it almost looks enamel. And you've got a very minimalist approach. They've not gone with the date function. At the 12 o'clock, you've got a very stylized Escapement Time logo just below the 12, and above the 6, you've got very simple lettering, quartz. So minimalist, clean dial, you know, very symmetrical, and you know, it's ticking all the boxes for a classic dress watch. Now let's move in a bit closer and look at the hour markers. Now you can tell they're fully polished, applied. You've got dual baton at the 12 o'clock and singular batons all the way around, and you can just see that great detailing where it's fully polished, chamfered edges, just to make sure that light does play off each and every hour marker. Moving on to the hands, you've got traditional Dauphine style hands with great polished edges, very sharp scissor-like appearance, and you've got this polished silver second hand just ticking away. Now, one of the biggest complaints that you get from quartz watches, and that's down to, you know, some of us that are really very particular, is the second hand does not seem to hit all the minute markers on the dial. But here you can see as it ticks, it does hit every single marker almost perfectly. So you do have a printed minute track around the dial. So I love the construction. I love how simple it is, yet the detailing is just present. It makes the watch honestly look 4 or 5 times what it is actually worth. Now, very simplistic in design. We're not going to have a lot of other features to look at. As mentioned, it does have a sapphire crystal, which is sitting just perfectly right. Moving on to the crown, you've got decent knurling. It is subset within the case just to help with that profile, and nice knurling, and you've got Escapement Time branding with some sort of sandblasted finish in between. Very nice. Let's check it out. Let's pop the crown once. Of course, being quartz, it will hack, and you just set the time. And off you go. Let's turn the watch around. You'll see Escapement Time engraved on the back with that sandblasted finish, circular brushing around the case back, and again, simple, right? The whole thing about this watch is so simple, and it just adds to the elegance, and you know, this is the core effectively of dress watches. Now let's have a look at, in my opinion, the nicest thing on this watch. Just look at that beautiful case. Along the tips, insides of the lugs, you've got straight linear brushing. It isn't as smooth as I'd like it to be. You know, you can see it is a bit rough, it is a bit coarse, but you know, but on the whole, you really can't tell that too well. Now we go around the polished sides. Just look at the chamfering. Great angles. I think Escapement Time have done a very nice job of actually getting dimensions, getting angles, and really homaging the older King Seikos. Just check that out. That is such a beautiful case. Fully polished. goes without saying, it is going to be a fingerprint magnet. But even on camera, you can just see how gorgeous that looks. And that is the appeal of this watch. Take a closer look. Honestly, such a good looking watch. Now, there is one complaint about this watch, which I think everybody will have, and it's the fact that it comes on this poor leather strap. It's very thin, it is quite stiff, and it's got this hideous croc pattern. Now, while this strap might suit most of the watches, and for the most part, from a distance, you know, it is okay, it isn't too bad, but in hand, it does feel quite cheap. So I'm not going to do a wrist shot with this strap. I do have a few straps which I will try it on. So I've got this vintage waxy style makes black leather strap with some nice contrasting stitching, which I think will really go well with that dial. I've also got this more contemporary looking, a bit more modern leather strap, which it is one. I used to wear this on my Presage cocktail time. I've got something here. It's this very flat, I believe Omega style bracelet. Someone sent it to me as a sample, so we'll check that out also. Right, so the first one I've put it on, as mentioned, is a distressed makes black leather with this contrast stitching. Now with the make straps, I'm a huge fan, because as you do sort of press on them, turn them, you'll see them slightly change color, and I love this waxy distressed look. And I'd say already this has changed the look of this watch compared to, you know, that shiny faux alligator skin. Now my wrist is 6.5 inches, and that strap is really nice. The thing with leather straps, they need to be quite supple for them to sit properly on your wrist. And just check out that. A very nice watch indeed. Now on wrist, I will say, I think the lugs are just slightly too pointy, even though they're well under 50 mil, 46 millimeters. But I think this watch honestly would look better, just a touch smaller, maybe a 38 mil. And I'm guessing I'm not the first person to say that. As it is, I still think it's a very incredible watch. So let's show you this watch on the next one. Now this watch strap is actually from a company called Fulmosa. I bought it on eBay just to put on my Presage, but I think it is a very nice, you know, modern sort of strap, and I think that does again give this watch a different look. Now these kind of watches are strap monsters in their own right. You can put just a whole host of watch straps on there, and you know they will suit most of them for the most part. Let's give you guys a wrist roll. The angles on this watch case are so beautiful. The angling on the dial, the hands, it is a very nice looking watch. I think that looks great as well. Now let's try the stainless steel. Alright, you know what? This would have been the perfect strap. Thin, polished outer, brushed center, small links for that awesome articulation. However, I'm not a fan of that big gap between there. So let's try this on. Now this strap was sent in from just a supplier, and they're not on AliExpress. So I'm just trying to work with the supplier and get a few straps in, just to see how good they are. Obviously poor clasp, but you know, it's a vintage style bracelet. Let's put it on. Let's check it out. Yeah, I can't deal with the gap between the lugs there. But other than that, I think it's got great potential. And possibly if it had more of a taper. Let's take this off. I do actually want to try the bracelet from the Presage. So okay, we might have a winner here, guys. The Seiko Presage bracelet. Now while it isn't perfect between the lugs, I personally do like the ends to sit flush. But I think that's pretty damn close. And you know what? I think that is the best it's going to get. And I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Correct me if I'm wrong. So let's put this on. Now it's a butterfly clasp, which I think this watch needs, being a dress watch and all that. And I think, wow, that is nice. That is nice. And I think the brushing and the polishing on the bracelet does give the watch just a different contrast. It gives it a different look. So it's not fully polished, because as mentioned, the version 1 they did, the bracelet, everything was just too polished. It was like a mirror. But wow, does that look incredible. So, you know, if you do get this watch, bear in mind you need to buy a Seiko Presage Cocktail Time with the bracelet, or just try and source another bracelet to get this incredible looking Escapement Time King Seiko Homage. Now that's so good. In fact, I'm going to keep it on this bracelet and stick the leather strap on the Presage. Wow, that's nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed all those strap changes. It's the most strap changes I've probably done all year. But, you know, I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope you guys, wow, check out this fantastic watch from Escapement Time. If you are interested, I know they have reloaded on stock. I'll leave within the description a link to the store as always. And as always, it's appreciated when you guys use those links. So feel free to check that out. And remember to sign up to my Facebook group, The Watcher. Wow, what an incredible watch. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.